on the Road of Jade. This mountain range in the northeast of Guatemala is harboring a treasure exploited by modern miners for an industry which is booming in the 21st century, but started in these lands at least 3,000 years ago. The treasure is jade, a stone-like mineral whose scientific name is jadeite, designating a variety of jade that differs from the Chinese one, scientifically called nephrite. In ancient times, this stone was a symbol of royalty and power.
Si uno revisa la información de jade a nivel mundial, son pocos los lugares donde se puede formar, porque solo en ciertos lugares con las condiciones adecuadas puede empezar a darse este metamorfismo de ciertos minerales y rocas para transformarse en jade.
For its great value, it was in high demand and hence caused the establishment of a long commercial route that had its center in Huayatán, today the department of El Progreso in Guatemala. A few ruins and vestiges of ancient workshops prove the location of what we now call the Jade Capital. Recent investigations show that jade found in the Montagua Valley was already used in 1500 BC by the Mocaya, a people living in the Pacific coast of modern Chiapas in Mexico. But it was the Olmecs who started to associate jade with their rulers. Settled in the southeast of Mexico between 1500 and 400 BC, these people are looked upon as the first important culture of America. One of their best-known funeral traditions was to place small jade axes like this one around the buried king. The predominance of green jade, however, was brought about by the Mayas, the major and most advanced culture of the continent. By them, jade was revered as the stone of eternity or stone of heaven. It could be for this reason that the ruler buried in Tacalic-Abach at the beginning of our era was found richly adorned with jade in the form of beads, cylinders, and fine ornaments.
First, jade for me is a very important stone because it's a beautiful stone, it's a precious stone, but it also has a lot of cultural significance for Guatemala because it was the most important material that the Maya had. They believed that it had mystical, magical healing properties. In fact, they even believed that the dead would carry a piece of jade to them to the afterlife to help them get into the afterlife.
The commercialization of jade led to the flourishing of great kingdoms, like for instance Cancun, located in the far south of Petén along the shores of the Passion River. Their power and influence were based on the fabrication of jade jewelry, as shown by vestiges of workshops discovered in the area. All these riches used by the Maya nobles came from the same mountains which still today are the only source of the stone of heaven in Mesoamerica. At the jade mines, workers looked for the best quality stones. The quarries, which had been used by the Mayas, remained unknown during the colonial period, but were rediscovered in the 1950s. Today, they represent one of the most important jade mines worldwide, since in them were found colors which are unique to this region. Lavender, orange, moon, light blue.
El mineral jade es un mineral metamórfico. El metamorfismo significa cambio. Eso significa que el mineral sufrió ciertas transformaciones debido a las condiciones del medio, que podrían ser condiciones de presión y temperatura, que hace que los minerales aparezcan en zonas donde hay fallamientos de tipo transcurrente, que es un movimiento lateral que se da en la falla del Motagua en Guatemala.
Jade is harder than steel, and it can be polished to intense brilliance. The most important of the colors is an emerald green, the jade called imperial. At the mines, it's found like this. Once found in the mine, the stone is submitted to a first examination in order to determine its chemical composition, purity, hardness, and density. Then it's cut into slabs with steel saws hardened by diamonds. The Mayans did not have steel, however. Modern experiments have led to the conclusion that they used abrasives made of powders of jade, quartz, and granite mixed with animal fat and applied to thin slices of obsidian or wood. The stone would then be cut by a continuous movement of these saws. The abrasive would also be applied to strings of vegetable fiber, like the primitive tools shown here, which may be very similar to those used in pre-Columbian times.
Gem quality jade receives its value from three properties of the stone. One is the purity or the uniformity of the color. Secondly is the intensity or the strength of the color. The more intense the color, the more valuable. Thirdly is the translucency of the stone or the way the light passes through it. So for those two reasons, it's much less expensive than gem quality jade, and the majority of the value is the workmanship that goes into the stone. And those are the two different qualities of jade that we have here in Guatemala.
The stones are then taken from the mine to the workshops where they undergo another process of classification before being cut into slabs of different thickness. They may go from thin panes to heavy blocks, depending on their further use. Specialists then choose the best pieces, checking that they are free of impurities, like for instance inclusions of quartz, mica, or crystals, and that they are not flawed by fissures. Thus they obtain the pieces of highest quality. The design of the gem is to be made by an artist who draws the intended shape on the surface of the jade by means of an aluminum pencil. Next comes the shaping of the piece with a small saw. Straight cuts first, as close as possible to the design, fine cuts afterwards, made with diamond grinding wheels or diamond drills to shape it into its final form. At last, the craftsman carefully polishes the piece and gives it the ultimate brilliant glow using a leather band and diamond powder. If the jewel is to be perforated, modern technology works like this. For the Mayas, of course, the chore was more complicated, as they had to rely on tools like this. La Casa del Jade, a Guatemalan company operating in Antigua, is continuing this 3,000-year-old tradition. Established in 1977 by Gerald Lee.
Welcome to the House of Jade, a Mesoamerican legacy. Please come in.
It is involved in every one of the steps necessary for the creation of jade jewelry, starting with the extraction of the raw material, to the cutting and polishing the gems, and beyond that, to rigorous final quality controls. The jade pieces are ultimately combined with silver, solid gold, gold lamina, precious or semi-precious stones. Besides the usual jewelry, necklaces, rings, earrings, and other kinds of modern adornments, La Casa del Jade also produces recreations of engraved plaques, sculptures, and masks, objects found along the Jade Road of the Mayas. Mosaic masks like these, for instance, were part of the burial dowry of a ruler from Tikal. Others were found in the 80s by archaeologists excavating Takalik Abach. Today's craftsmen recreate them by using the complex techniques of the past. All the fragments are produced separately and then one by one glued to a wooden base. These and other pieces are true works of art, ready to be placed in the exhibition rooms of this 16th century house, which has been restored to its original state and figures among Guatemala's national monuments.
Very proud in that we're the only private group to have restored a national monument here in Antigua, Guatemala.
In the Museum of La Casa del Jade, 58 pieces represent what the first civilizations of Mesoamerica valued as their best treasures of the stone of heaven. It's the biggest and most beautiful jade collection in Guatemala, with half of the pieces being unique in the world.